Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Keslar from Keslar Insurance, and I am grateful to be here again today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire, where we are interviewing another fantastic local organization that's doing really good for our neighbors. And of course, I have the privilege of being here with my dear friend JoAnn Burchuk. Hey, JoAnn.
Lisa, thank you. My name is JoAnn Burchuk. I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy and also Cheers for Charity. And today we have another great organization. Rochelle, welcome to Cheers for Charity. She's with Yoga in Action. And we're looking forward to hearing about all the great things you guys do. So, Rochelle, feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a little background about Yoga in Action.
Great. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name's Rochelle Jewell. I am both the founder of Yoga in Action and the executive director. We've been around for about 12 years now. We started in September of 2012. And our mission is to make sure that all people have access to therapeutic benefits of yoga. And that's regardless of any barriers, whether they be social, physical, or financial barriers. And we bring yoga classes to all kinds of diverse populations in our area, starting in the Seacoast. Rebranded a couple of years ago, both to expand and to just get more clear about what it is that we do. So now we're offering both virtual classes and online classes. And in-person classes. Didn't expect to do the virtual thing until COVID hit. But now we've got a combination of some classes that are all online, some classes that are in person, and a couple even that are hybrid. So participants can either be in person and it's also streamed out to the community.
That's great. So, do you want to back up just a little bit and give us a little background as far as like how how and why was this organization established?
Mhm. Absolutely. So I'm primarily a yoga teacher. I've been a professional yoga teacher for 20 years. And in my both in my personal teaching and my personal practice, from the very beginning, it was really important to me that yoga was accessible. And I've worked with lots of diversity in the students in my classes. So working with students who are prenatal students, individuals with disabilities, did a lot of volunteer work in the process and also had lots of calls out to do volunteer work and to teach free classes within different populations for different nonprofits. And what I learned through all of that was that it wasn't sustainable, and not necessarily for me. Um, but when I was looking at organizations that were calling, they would say, "Hey, can you come teach a yoga class for our clients?" We had a yoga teacher, but they got a job, got a real job. And as I was listening to this many times over the years, I realized that it's really important that we have skilled teachers, first of all, in at-risk populations, and that those there's some consistency for the students, for the clients, because if we are any individuals who are struggling in some way, they need to know that there's somebody there for them and they need to have consistency. And so teachers coming and going and classes starting for a few weeks and ending, it's not very therapeutic for traumatized populations. So it became really important to me to find a way and a model that would provide sustainable yoga programs with well-trained teachers who are very culturally sensitive, to the needs of the populations that they're serving, and to very specific ways of modifying classes to meet the needs of those
Mhm.
folks.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So, if there is somebody that is in need and has an interest in participating, what is the process for them?
We have a variety of ways that we offer our programs. We have 4 areas of service, or our 4 action areas, and they are connect, thrive, transform, and heal. And each of those types of areas of our service have different approaches. Our yoga and cancer program is the biggest one, and that's under the Heal Action. And yoga and cancer classes are free to anybody who is a cancer patient, whether they're in treatment or they're in remission. Also open to caregivers and even those in bereavement. So sometimes we'll have we've had several occasions where there's been a yoga and cancer student who's been coming along with a spouse, and the spouse may continue to take those classes if in the end the client doesn't survive the cancer. So it's a wide reach for the cancer community in general. And those classes are accessed through our website, yogainaction.org, or Yoga and Cancer. And so we have two websites where those can be accessed, and we do have both in-person classes and virtual for those. Some of the other classes that we offer are in partnership with other organizations. So yoga and recovery classes can be accessed through SOS recovery centers. There are also individual organizations, which classes may not be open to the public, but we go into the organizations to serve those clients. For example, we're not actively teaching now, but in the county jail, Stratford County Jail and Rockingham County Jail, we would go in as teachers to provide classes to those who are incarcerated. Both of those programs mostly focused on recovery from substance use. We also have classes that are open to the public. Our Yoga in the Park goes on every summer, and that's a free class. It is active now at Prescott Park in Portsmouth every Tuesday at noon. Let's see, we're still in June. So, well, I guess I don't even know the days. So June, July, and August at noon, Prescott Park. We meet by the whale statue. We have a rotating schedule of teachers. So that's free to anybody. And the classes are multi-level. So what we found over the years is sometimes folks come in and it's their very first yoga class ever. And that's how they get their introduction to yoga. It's kind of nice because it's anonymous. Although there is a pre-registration required now. And that's through our website or our Facebook page. You can register. But it's just being in the open air and not having to go into a studio and navigate when do I take off my shoes, where do I sit, all of those things. It removes a barrier right there to provide an introduction to yoga and the benefits of it. We have a couple of online classes as well through the Connect Action. One's a meditation class. So there's just a little bit of movement, and then an introduction to meditation, and it's only a half-hour session. So just that shorter time frame makes it be a little bit more accessible. And then we also have a community yoga class that's free to anybody that would like to attend.
And the ones that are in person, are they at a particular facility, or where are they move around to different locations?
The yoga and cancer classes are hosted, currently all are hosted right now in yoga studios. And those are around the seacoast. So there's one in Kennebunk, York, Kittery, Dover, and Northampton currently. And again, either yogaandcancer.org or Yoga in Action. And you can find links for the different ways to attend those classes. The other ones that we have that are open to the public are in our Thrive Action, and it's yoga for all abilities. And these classes are for individuals with developmental or intellectual disabilities and or physical disabilities. Primarily because of the timing, mostly all adults are attending. These are all still held virtually via Zoom. And again, they can be accessed through our website.
That's fantastic. I just wanted to say I was actually on your website a few weeks ago and did one of the recorded video yoga classes.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That was, again, another new add to COVID. due to COVID. And now that we've been doing it for a while, we actually have to circle back and add to our library. But we do have several meditation classes and yoga classes that are pre-recorded, so they can be accessed by anybody, anytime.
Yeah, I
And
thought that was
by our yoga
fantastic.
in action teachers.
I'm sorry, say that again.
They're all recorded by our yoga in action teachers, so everybody's part of our faculty.
Wonderful. Yeah. And you also partner a lot with other organizations like On Belay and My Breast Cancer Support, correct?
Yes, that's part of the Through It Together program, which started last, I want to say, well, of 2020, March or April. I think they probably started discussing it in March of 2020. And it was launched in the spring, April or May. It happened really quickly. These organizations, along with the Yoga and Cancer, Michelle Kuchar, who's the founder of the Yoga and Cancer and also our president, um, met with these other cancer community organizations in response to the pandemic to find ways to keep individuals who are living with cancer connected, because they're so immunocompromised, even more at risk and even more isolated than those of us who may not have health issues. And so, what they've done with the Through It Together program is brought in speakers every month on a variety of topics for a Zoom session. And we've had amazing response with that. So, there have been cooking classes and singing, like voice classes, and not, I wouldn't call it a class, but a workshop. Um, so all kinds of different ways to find wellness and support individuals living with cancer.
Yeah, I've been to a few. They're fantastic. So
Yeah.
thank you for being part of that. It was a nice gift at a time that was stressful. So thank you.
You're welcome. We're glad to be able to find ways to continue to enrich people's lives in as many ways as we can. Certainly we have the yoga and the mindfulness focus, but a big piece of what we do is connection, about making connections, and partnering with other nonprofits is so important to us, and it's part of who we are. It's part of our model, is finding ways to serve others, and sometimes we can't do it alone. We can't do everything. And so when an organization comes to us and would like to bring a class to their clients, it's really it starts with just a conversation, like, what are your needs, what is your budget, how can we make this happen. In the end, what we want to be able to do is deliver the program to the individuals that need it, and we just try to figure out how we can work together to make it happen.
Are most of the instructors volunteering their time through these programs, or are they all paid
They're
through
all
the organization?
Yeah, they're all paid. That was something that was really important to me, based on my experience, especially as being a professional yoga teacher. It's not Yoga teaching is not a high paying career, as you can maybe imagine. Um, and the teachers that we hire they're screened. We spent a lot of time interviewing, talking, looking at background checks. They have additional training that's really specific to the populations that they're serving. So either professional yoga training, some might have other professional training from their additional careers. So we might have somebody who has worked in the field of trauma and as a therapist, and is also a yoga teacher. So there's lots of different, they may have lived experience or professional training experience or other yoga teaching experience via additional workshops, or we have a couple of yoga therapists who are on staff as well. Um, and because of all of those requirements, we felt it was really important to pay our teachers. And we consider it a stipend. It's not nearly what they're worth, but it's a way, again, to ensure this consistency and the sustainability of the programs, because our teachers who come on board, even if they don't have an active class, they don't leave. I check in every year. I'm like, okay, so we have about 30 or so teachers who are currently on our faculty, and not all of them are teaching at this moment. I go back and circle back and say, okay, are you still with us either as a substitute or waiting for a class to come? And what we found for the most part is they stay. And a piece of that is that they know that they're valued. Even in yoga, I feel it's really important to have some exchange of energy, and money it's a form of energy. And I think it's important to be able to for teachers to be able to continue to serve, um, when they might have other opportunities out there. They do need to be compensated.
Absolutely. So then that leads to the next question. How do you raise your funds, and how does that work? And and share with us too. If there's people who think that this idea is fantastic, how can they support you?
Okay. So we have a few different ways that we raise funds. One way is through some of our partnerships with our organizations. And as I mentioned, we partner with SOS Recovery Community Centers, and we've worked with Haven and Hope on Haven Hill in the past. And organizations like that very often are able to pay a fee for service at some level to help sustain the programs, whether they pay, fully support the class or partially support the class. So we do have some income that comes in from some of our nonprofit partnerships. We also work really hard at fundraising. We raise some of our programs are self-funded. The Yoga and Cancer program is entirely funded by Yoga in Action, and that's our largest program. And our Thrive program, the Yoga for All Abilities classes that I mentioned, are also currently self-funded. When COVID hit, those organizations who we were partnering with, who were supporting the classes in some way, because they were no longer providing in-person programming and had concerns about their funding, that all went away. But those communities are really near and dear to our heart, and we decided we needed to find a way to keep going. So we wrote more grants and did more fundraising, and so we've been working really hard to keep those going, even as we lost some of the financial support that we had. Every year we have our largest annual event is in February. It's called the Yoga Mala, and that it's going to be in person again this year. This past year it was a virtual event, but normally in normal times we have about 200 people who come and practice yoga together in a really beautiful event. And we do a peer-to-peer fundraiser along with that. So our people register and they come to the Yoga Mala and they ask their friends and family members to support them. And so that's our largest fundraiser of the year. And usually that can bring in about half of our annual budget. So it's a really big one, and that was something that was a little bit challenging this year because it didn't come close to what we normally would expect for that to be. But we're looking forward to February of 2022 and getting back on track with that. We participate in giving days like New Hampshire Gives and Giving Tuesday. So we always have a big call out for those giving days and do really well with them. Do a little bit of grant writing, focusing more on that this year. But honestly, for an organization like ours, because it's a little bit different, I think the grant writing piece it's one of the smaller components of how we raise income. But yes, we are always accepting donations, and it's really easy to do. Just going to our website. Again, it's yogainaction.org and clicking on a donate button. And that brings us right to our donor database. And there's an opportunity there if anybody who's watching does choose to make a donation, to either put it in honor or in memory of an individual who you care about, or to direct it towards one of our programs. So many folks like to support the recovery programs or the yoga and cancer program if they have loved ones who are either struggling with addiction or living with cancer.
That's awesome. What a great organization. I love yoga, and I think it's just a really great way to give back and support those people.
Yeah, that's great. So Rochelle, we talked a little bit about the website. Are there other ways for people to get more information or reach out? Do you use any social media, or is the website sort of the focus?
We are active on Facebook and Instagram. Well, I'm not active on Instagram, but my staff is active on Instagram. So don't ask me any questions about that. But we do have a Facebook page, and all of our events are on our Facebook page.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was really fascinating, and I loved hearing more about yoga in action.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate all that you do to support both Yoga in Action Now and all of the other nonprofits in our area. It's so appreciated.